What kind of a sports car would you build if you had no frame of reference? It's a strange question to ask since almost all enthusiasts have at least some kind of experience with a sports car, especially if you grew up in Southern California. But Mark Still is a rare breed, a true enthusiast, fabricator, and artist who just wanted to go fast, but he didn't have any idea what a properly sorted car should feel like. All he knew is that anything he needed, he could probably make himself using his background as a welder on major Hollywood productions, and that he liked old Corollas.
This may look like a 1975 Toyota Corolla, but that is only if you judge it by the bodywork. Because while this may have started out as a 1975 Toyota Corolla, it most certainly is not one anymore.
My name is Mark Still. We're in Duarte, California, which is about 10 miles east of Pasadena. Okay, it started out as a 75 Toyota Corolla. If you go by weight, it's actually more SC400 because it's sitting on Lexus SC400 front and rear suspension, and it has Lexus SC400 motor in it. I haven't put on a dyno, but I'm guessing it makes about 300 to 400 horsepower.
Now when you're building a project car in your garage by yourself, and you have limited experience of both car building, engineering, and setting up suspensions, the results could be interesting at best, disastrous at worst. And yet somehow this car, which yes, feels old and takes some practice, feels amazing. This car was built for this road. He liked to drive here and wanted to build the perfect budget, home-built sports car to climb this hill. Now once you get the hang of it, and you start believing it will get around that corner, it actually will. Everything on the car is completely functional. There's no style mods here. Those fender flares may be what drew me to the car in the first place, but the only reason they're there is so you can fit a modern suspension and modern rubber underneath the bodywork. That hole in the hood is a cool way to show off your supercharger, but ultimately, Mark had no choice. It just had to go there. The tires, very sticky Hankook RS3s. The car's got an unbelievable amount of grip. It feels obviously very race car-y. The steering rack is right off the Supra, and it's very light. A lot of assist in the power steering. I'd have chosen a rack with a little less assist. And we've also got the only original part of the interior, the steering wheel, which is huge. And because of the shape of the cockpit and size of the wheel, I can't really steer properly. I have to shuffle steer. The turn-in is very, very good once you get the wheel cranked over. A smaller steering wheel and a quicker rack would go a long way here. But throttle response is instant. Yes. Winds out nicely to 6,000 RPM red line. It's got a very aggressive clutch. Shatters a little bit when you get off the line, but good engagement. The T56 gearbox is pretty good in this application. It's burly, it's got good ratios. Whenever we see this home-built stuff, it's always interesting to see what kind of creative solutions people have come up with. So, for instance, he wanted the car to sound like a Ferrari, but what he had was a Lexus V8. So what he did was he used the bundle of snakes headers to create an imitation flat plane crank V8 sound.
180-degree headers, they cross over 2 tubes from each side, and the purpose of that is to even out the exhaust pulses. Because a normal V8, the firing order, is such that 2 cylinders on each side fire one after the next, which to the exhaust system is just one big pulse. That's how you get that lumpy V8 American V8 sound. 180-degree headers even those pulses out. And they're called 180-degree headers because they simulate a 180-degree crankshaft like in Ferrari.
This car on the highway will actually get 20 miles per gallon. Apparently in the canyons it gets around 8. But what's surprising is it rides really nice. I mean, it feels like a race car in here, but I'm not getting banged around or anything. It is kind of warm. Even though he put heat shielding on the transmission tunnel, there is still heat just cranking off this thing. And my right calf is a little burned. Dad's feet are on fire. But even though it's hot in here, our engine temp has been holding at 190 all day. Oil temp has been holding at 200 all day. Everything works perfectly. The hard stuff has been engineered well in this car. You can't be gentle with it. This is a grab it by the scruff and go, and don't really say you're sorry. But when a guy tells you he's got 4,000 man hours into his car, there's only so hard I'm willing to push it. There's a lot of custom work in this car, and frankly, most of it should not work as well as it does.
Home-built cars are special things, and as such, don't carry an engineered predictability the same way the best factory sports cars do. So while I will come out and say that there is no way I could get the most out of Mark's Corolla in just an afternoon, I was thrilled to get a taste of something so special, even for just a little while. Fortunately, Mark does know how to get the most out of his car, and at the most recent Hotchkiss Autocross Challenge at California Speedway, Mark placed first in class and 7th overall out of 80 cars on the grid. He ran within 1/10 of a second of a brand new C7 Corvette. Against all odds, Mark still has proven that sometimes the best way forward is indeed to start with a blank slate.